to have the sexuality that I have, and pretty much it's not that deep. It's kind of like the whole multiple genders thing. You know how it's to most people is male and female. I identify as a cisgender female. You know what I'm saying? Sexuality and all that has never been a confusion to me. I've had like curiosities in the past and such, like when I was a teenager and maybe like in my early 20s. Currently, I'm pretty straight, heterosexual, and I'm a female. I kind of want to get into like demisexuality a little bit, only because I kind of feel like the way my life is set up right now is making it difficult to like move as quickly as everybody else, or people that don't have the sexuality, right? So I kind of identify as usually straight, but it's a little deeper than that because I'm kind of weird about sex and stuff. Like, for example, in my earlier dating days, I didn't have any real issues in terms of sex drive or nothing like that. I actually don't have any issues like that. I actually have a healthy sex drive. Like, when I say healthy, it's different for some people. Some people normalize healthy sexuality as doing whatever, anytime, any hour, every day. Or any other day. Who gives an F, right? And then other people, their normal is celibacy. Or like straight pin, not doing crap until they have like a ring. So wherever you fit in between that is up to you. And whatever your sexuality is outside of that is up to you, right? So in my earlier dating days, I didn't have problems with sexuality or sex drive. I'm saying that because nowadays, I guess hormones and stress and like, you know, developing as a woman into your mid-20s, you start getting natural hormones that are just changing your body and how you feel and all that type of stuff. Like right now, I'm going through a lot of, I'm calling it women stuff because I'm pretty sure I'm not pregnant and I get my period pretty much like every month. And I'm just dealing with like adult teen stuff, right? So I would know if something was wrong with my sex drive. For example, if I wasn't feeling like everything's okay mentally and like, you know, like I'm not ever in the mood. I actually really do get in the mood sometimes, like even randomly. And then, what else? I'm not really somebody that does a lot of like self-touching every day, or like I never was like that. Like I kind of shared a room most of my life until really recently, like, and I still haven't really had my own true space for more than 6 months or 3 months or something, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't have a lot of time or room to explore none of that extra sexual stuff that some teenagers probably did. Or like I wasn't really going outside or talking to too many people for real. Like I was actually pretty chill. I was fine, you know. I take care of myself and all that. Like I'm pretty health conscious and whatnot. So I'm pretty the timing. Pretty health conscious and stuff like that. I'm not like vegan or like perfect. I just make sure I'm mainly getting what I need when I need it. I'll say that, right? Major important things and vitamins and like nutrients. I'll try to really focus on major stuff like that as much as I can in terms of like the economy and like my personal financial situation and home situation. Because honestly, my home life right now has not felt like a home. Like anywhere I've stayed here and there, whether it was alone or with people, I've had comfortable moments, and then sometimes in like the recent past where I've been really uncomfortable. So it just teeters, and honestly, I'm really not chalking that up to anything but just how it's going, right? Because I guess you could call me someone that's searching for employment and a home and etc. etc. Being homeless or with that status on paper is really hard to like get things done or like get stuff off the ground. So it just makes you look like, you know, if you're moving a little slower, you have less than some of the people in your circle. It just looks like you're not really trying, but it's just so hard to even wrap your head around that base thing that most people would just have, right? Somewhere to stay. And then that's something that I've been struggling with finding for so long. Honestly, like on and off, for real. Like, anyway. So, I'm saying all that to say, yes, stress and all that can play a part into your sex drive, but honestly, I don't have an issue with my sex drive. In fact, I'm the type of person that if I'm with someone, like in a commitment that we both agreed on, and I'm monogamous, right? If I'm with someone and I feel like our trust is good, our respect is good, and like our interactions are pretty okay or like tolerable, and I just feel like we can get along and we can be friends in the middle of whatever else is going on, right? So I'm not against anything else outside of what I explained. That being said, I never really struggled with that feeling within, like on my own, or maybe with someone, that I could consider somebody comfortable and like safe and like good to be with from both ends, right? So, recently I've kind of noticed that my life kind of, I will say, calls me to kind of, get places and do things and find resources, or as many as you can, or like resources that are conducive with your goal, your personal goals, and what you're trying to do in life, and how you want to do things, and all that type of jazz. Like, so I've tried all types of things. I've tried shelters. I've tried all the different routes. I've had different types of people help me. I've had different friends and stuff like that. Maybe is try to help me out, and I'm kind of really leaning towards maybe like male encounters while going through this like journey, I'm calling it. Honestly, just being in my 20s, I'm gonna call it that for real. But lately, it's been really hard to just kind of like relax and be who I'm really trying to be in the world, if that makes sense, without any circumstances shifting things that I have to kind of do, or places I have to be, and things like that. Just to have, anything, right? Or just what I need or whatever. So outside of all that, just me as a person, I've been dealing with a lot of run-ins with, like, let's say, people that try to propose a specific relationship with me. Like, even if it's just friendship with, like, some sort of benefits, or, like, a relationship, right? But maybe that person, when I say relationship, like a commitment that's exclusive, maybe that person just doesn't mean what they're saying, or they are way too passionate and maybe have, like, controlling tendencies because they don't want to lose someone that they really like. Or just stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Like struggling to let go and abandonment issues, and everybody deals with that to a certain degree. So I'm really not judging or saying somebody's like a bad person for being any type of way, whether they're like avoidant or like extra. So let's say somebody proposes something towards me that sounds kind of casual, and I'm really not against it, but I feel like, the body kind of tells on itself sometimes when it comes to sex. So maybe if you're having sex with someone that's kind of really physically forceful, or doesn't listen to you saying no or stop, kind of self-serving or focused really on how they're trying to feel and not the two people thing that sex is, for the most part. You know what I'm saying? That could go left really fast. I know the female reproductive system is super sensitive inside and out. So like a lot of things, like for me, I have sensitive skin. So a lot of towels or like new things can really mess with, like bleach, even like certain soaps can really mess with my dudes, you know what I'm saying? And then like it'll clear out a couple days later, or like dealing with, latex or stuff like that, or like people's hygiene outside of you that just got nothing to do with you, or you know what I'm saying, just all types of circumstances that can just F with your chi and your like being for real. Like you may not have like real terrible issues and stuff like that, just, you know what I'm saying, little things can kind of change stuff up that you're not really used to. Like, anyway, it's kind of hard for me to engage in like sex a little bit, only because first of all, I kind of started having sex really late in life compared to like my peers. Like I was kind of almost 20 years old, and on top of that, I've always been kind of awkward and shy, so it kind of requires a lot of patience and or just like loosening up, you know what I'm saying? That or our vaginas kind of tell on the moment or tell on how we're feeling. So if you're feeling kind of clenched or like super tense everywhere else, guess where that's going to be happening? Down there, right? And then, you know, when you get anxiety and your throat is closing up a little bit and it's like swelling, or you get like dry mouth a little bit if you're just like super nervous or something. And that could be a slew of different reasons, like you might be anxious or you might need this or both or whatever it is. That is pretty much what's going to happen if you're in a scenario like with someone kind of new or just someone that you're kind of getting to know. You know, a lot of that isn't always performance based or like their fault or your fault. Sometimes it's just like a combination of maybe, you know, you're paranoid or like you're nervous, or maybe you just need to really kind of take your time, right? That's kind of why I don't really go out of my way or force sex so much, because I notice with me, I'm so sensitive to so much, for real. My thing is usually perfectly a-okay when I'm really not doing too much with people or like someone that's not really being all that exclusive to me. Or maybe there's all different types of like things that I have or they have no control over in the moment, at least. Because you know, a lot of factors could play into that too. But obviously you want to go off of vibes with people and not so much what you're seeing or what's going on in that moment, for real, you know what I'm saying? Like you might meet somebody in a really rough spot in life, but that doesn't mean that they're a rough person or like they are, you know, damaged or jacked up or like, you know what I'm saying, always going to be that way. I feel like people can have the perfect life, right? A guy working a 9 to 5 with his wife and kids, he could lose that job. Guess where they're going to be? Anywhere, right? A girl could be just fine. She doesn't really talk to that many people and deal with that many people sexually in her life, and then she ends up homeless, and then you know what happens on the streets. Anything happens on the streets, good or bad. Whether she has control over what's going on to her, or if she has eyes on her, or whatever the case may be, right? It's like everybody's situation is different. So I noticed for me, with this life that I'm living right now, I've seen so many people in my same situation kind of just free ball and do what they gotta do and then be with who they gotta be with. And it's so easy for them, it seems like, to just kind of like click and choose or pick and choose people to just kind of like be open with and sexual with. And I'm so not like that. Like, even if someone's really attractive, or like, let's say their thing is super big, or like, just, you know, whatever it is, and they just look like this perfect person, or whatever they look like, or they have all this, whatever they have. I don't know, I'm not feeling nothing sometimes. Like, if I just, like, you know what I'm saying, hone in on my feelings. Like, it's not that I'm not, you know what I'm saying, straight or like not attracted to them. I just feel like going back to what I was talking about in terms of comfortability and like really getting to know somebody, for me to really open up sexually and really be on that consistent like timing with somebody to the point where you don't really have to ask me to do something sexual. If I'm comfortable enough to really do it, albeit, right, I'm so awkward. And like I prefer a guy to take the lead and stuff. I'm just speaking about how my body is and how I am, right? And if anybody else struggles with this or like has struggled with people kind of not understanding what it is or like what makes it so complicated. I feel confident in myself as a person. Like I take care of myself when I can. I'm really usually clean. I haven't really experienced any real terrible issues or things that are kind of like stuff that I can't handle. I've noticed like changes and just dealing with all types of homelessness, right? You're just gonna run into like health things or like your food, or you're not getting enough this or that, or you might need to go get this right quick, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's not like sometimes if I'm looking at somebody and they want to have or do something sexual and I'm not really pressing it, you know what I'm saying, as much as maybe they are, doesn't mean like I don't want to, unless I really say like no or stop, either during or like after. And I've kind of dealt with people that didn't care about the no or the stop, to be honest. So it's kind of triggering to kind of want to even have sex or do it at all sometimes, because not only have I been worrying about how I'm going to feel during all that, and like if I'm even confident enough or feeling in the moment enough to do that, then I have to kind of factor in, oh my God, does somebody like hurt me, or like I don't want to really be hurting somebody else because somebody hurt me, and or you know what I'm saying, by hurt like just traumatize you physically or just change how stuff is going on, you know what I'm saying? And they took no consideration about, you know, your resources or your person or your body or your like nothing, for real. It's not like I'm turned off by sex all the way. It just takes me a little bit of time to kind of really feel safe in somebody's presence, or like unnerved, right, just outside of sex. And then sex is something so intimate, for real, and like I kind of don't put it on a high horse, but I also don't think of it as just like a currency per se, you know what I'm saying? I don't really translate it to that in my head. Now obviously sex happens and like people are people, like I'm saying, I'm not the type of person that requires marriage before I open my legs, but my lifestyle recently has stretched me a little bit compared to before. Like I wasn't really dealing with really anyone in that manner, and I didn't really have to, and you know what I'm saying? I'm really just talking about what it feels like to kind of feel like sex doesn't really feel like how it should, or how most people feel during sex. Like, first, most people, they can just look at somebody attractive and then they're looking at this other person as attractive and they're just feeling the feelings, like that's it. And that's why I feel like a lot of people end up cheating a lot in like our current society, because it don't take much for people to kind of like really drop their marbles, for real. And I'm not judging, for real, you know what I'm saying? Like, people have their different reasons as to why they really do stuff. Like, it's not always so vain, to be honest. But like, I don't know, I've noticed in like previous relationships that I've had like years ago and stuff, where I was really genuinely comfortable, or what I thought was comfortable, I would be kind of initiative with, you know what I'm saying, sex and the sorts. I would be kind of like more open to it if it was happening. I was not super freaky or anything, but it's the principle to me. Like, I would sometimes wish I was more shallow just to kind of get by or fit in with like most people, because even if I'm having sex or it's happening and I'm just kind of not really there because I'm either thinking about a traumatic time, and I'm saying if I get consensual sex with someone and protected and all that, I'm not saying like just be out here not giving an F. I'm just talking about me. So I be feeling like I'm just not there sometimes, because I'm just not a type of person. Like, now I can bond with someone, and the closer our bond is, or like the more we maybe talk, or like the more we feel like friends for real, then it's easier for me to kind of start doing that. But that's why I don't really go out of my way to do super simple casual things for real, because first of all, it doesn't turn me on if I feel like that's who you are. I'm not judging you or nothing, because people have different stages in life and desires in life, so I'm not going to judge somebody's chapter or somebody's book. I'm saying, for me, it doesn't turn me on when I feel like somebody's kind of just super casual, and on top of that, I have to feel like that person actually like really likes me as a person, and my body too, like, or at least likes me more than my body, because bodies change, right? Pregnancy, weight loss, weight gain, whatever the F else, it could be health things. That's what demisexuality is kind of like. It doesn't mean you're asexual, or you don't like to have sex, or you don't like what you like, or you're confused, or whatever the case is. Like, I feel like nobody really talks about this, because to like a certain population, like let's say super religious people, this is normal. You should, to them, it's be doing sexual things with somebody you're with or trying to be with, or like, yes, that's what your goal should be. And right, that has been like my life goal and like my goal, right? Before things get hard, before things in life change, you can make all the plans you want and have this perfect picnic planned out, right? I'm talking about metaphorically. You cannot control the weather. So just talking about how my recent life changes have just really brought that to my attention, how demisexual I am, because I figured with this type of life that I'm living, right, homeless, or just like needing resources, or maybe people that know me or see me, they're figuring, why doesn't she just go do a bunch of shit with some dudes? Or like, why doesn't she just really do that so she can eat? Or like, why isn't she chasing the money? Or like, it's kind of like, why making things complicated? And I've never really tried to do that or go out of my way to be that way. That's just always how I've been. And it's so hard for me to try to like mold into somebody that I'm not, just to kind of get what I need. Now, sometimes things get really hard, and I'm not wishing a struggle on nobody, or saying struggle equals do bad things. That's not always the case, but you don't really understand somebody's good choices or bad choices, or somebody's struggle, unless you really went through it yourself. Like, you can have empathy or sympathy for people, but you're never gonna really be in their shoes, for real, until you really go through all the time and all the things that they've been through. Yeah, I kind of sometimes wish I was more shallow, not literally, but just to kind of like fit in or be where everybody else that I kind of knew or know is, in terms of like finance or like their life, right? I'm not looking at nobody's life and saying, I want that, I like that, they have it easy or they have it worse. I'm not looking at people and thinking that, because everybody works really hard for what they have, even if it's nothing or pennies. Everybody's really going through it. So the point is just, sometimes I just kind of feel alone. Like, I wish I could just see a print and just be pressed, right? Or like, just kind of not care so much about like the person, or like how they're perceiving me, or like my recent life things, or just me as a whole, right? Because I'm not just past me or future me or now me. So I just kind of wish I didn't think so much about all that, but you can wish something all you want and you can't really change really who you are. So now, I'm not saying demisexuality equals no sex until we're BFFs. It's really just like an implication, or no, it's an indicator of, you know, if somebody's demisexual and they're more reserved with you, they don't feel as connected or bonded to you as they would like to be as sexually open with you as maybe you would like. Right? And that's all connected, like the body. It's all connected. Like the solar system. Like most guys, they'll just see some girl in some tight pants or like a shorter top or something, and they're already like rocked. And I would feel kind of bad if that was my case a little, because obviously that could be all types of different health things, but really it's hard to run into men that kind of just like see through you and not like just what you're presenting. Now obviously you don't want to be not caring or not trying in the world like every day all the time, or you could just do what you want, but all that external stuff really does fade. And I mean, a lot of people don't really care about that for as long as they're young, so you just gotta understand that it is kind of lonely with this specific sexuality. It's extremely challenging on top of my challenges in life right now, because I'm trying to be a certain type of person or do things a certain type of way, and it's just been feeling like that's been so nearly impossible, but not horribly impossible. Just, it's really eye-opening to society, or the majority of society right now, and what people value and what people want out of you, male or female. I'm saying just at the end of the day, and like keeping it a buck, really, like most people really want to help you if you help them, right? It could be any type of way, like it's not just sexual, but I've noticed my sexual life has been so, I don't want to say dull, just kind of like I purposely keep it like so limited, because at least from what I could control and what I could say no to, really, or walk away from, thankfully, because sometimes I put myself in situations with people that seem like they're nice or helpful, and they take all advantage of you, so I just am running. I'm also exercising discernment a lot, too. Like, I try not to judge people based on how they look, or maybe if they, you know what I'm saying, remind me of anyone, etc., etc. Yeah, it's pretty lonely. Feeling like you have to kind of explain that to people that might like you, or, you know, sometimes there's people that's trying to help you out in life, right? Like, or just trying to get to know you. And I actually really do like some people that maybe weren't demisexual, like they were just straight up straight, meaning it don't take much to get turned on or be trying to have sex a lot. And I've liked people like that, and I've liked people that would kind of act like sex doesn't exist. And then I've liked people kind of in the middle. So really, you gotta really find people that pretty much align with you if you want anything in terms of like long term. Yeah, don't assume just because somebody's not super on your tail, it means that they're not attracted to you or don't like you, or that they're a none. Some people really do require like prompts. Like somebody like me is like going to be better at answering questions or like piggybacking off of something. I'm not very much a conversation starter or like confrontational for real, unless I really have to like be that way. Yeah, and I don't know, I haven't really dealt with that many guys like this, but please don't let your ego ruin something before it even starts. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of dealt with multiple guys that just felt like because I wasn't on their D, I was just whoring elsewhere, or I'm just not into them at all. And that wasn't really usually the case. Like, some of these people like that were, you know what I'm saying, not very comfortable to be around, or like really, you know what I'm saying? People don't really understand what I just explained is until I call it what it is. Because a lot of people just be wondering, like I was saying, why it matters to even be breaking it down like that. Like, if you are, if you like this, you like this. Like, it shouldn't be all that complicated. Or if you're a female, you're a female or a woman. And if you're a man, you're a man. Like, all them extra, to some people, all the extra genders and all the extra sexualities and all that extra stuff doesn't really matter, but you see it kind of manifest in real life, whether you like it or not. I'm not really part of the LGBTQ community in terms of, like, you know what I'm saying, the major-ish, but I kind of support the people under that umbrella, because I don't feel like people should give an F that much.